Drop $5 worth of metal into a dirty river and watch it start purifying itself. No power, no filters, and no chemicals. Just a strip of zinc and a strip of copper that generate their own electric field. The moment they touch water, bacteria die on contact, heavy metals get stripped out, and the reaction never stops. Every ancient civilization on Earth knew this, while America classified it as a pesticide. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why. Hi, I am Greg, and welcome to Building Grounds. Subscribe and hit the bell to uncover more building secrets they never taught you. The science behind this is not theoretical. It is measured electrochemistry, documented in laboratories worldwide. When zinc and copper make physical contact in water, something remarkable happens. The zinc acts as an anode. The copper acts as a cathode. Together they form what chemists call a galvanic cell. An electrochemical reaction begins immediately, without any external power source. Electrons flow from the zinc to the copper through the water itself. This electron exchange strips dissolved metals from the water. It ruptures bacterial cell membranes on contact. It generates hydroxyl radicals and hydrogen peroxide as byproducts. Both of those compounds destroy microorganisms at the molecular level. The standard electrode potential between zinc and copper is 1.1 volts. That number is a physical constant. It does not change whether the metals sit in a university laboratory in Cambridge or a muddy river in rural Guatemala. That voltage is enough to remove chlorine, hydrogen sulfide, heavy metals, and iron from water. It inhibits the growth of algae, fungi, and bacteria, all without electricity, all without chemical additives, all without moving parts. The only input is two metals touching water. The output is purified water. The cost of those metals at any hardware store in America is less than $5. But we did not discover this, we forgot it. Dating back to around 2,400 years before the Common Era, the Smith Papyrus from ancient Egypt documents the use of copper for water purification and wound sterilization. Egyptian physicians along the Nile Delta stored drinking water in copper vessels. They did not understand electrochemistry, and they did not need to. They observed that water stored in copper stayed clean, while water stored in clay did not. The practice became standard across Egyptian civilization for centuries. In ancient India, the foundational texts of Ayurveda explicitly recommended drinking water stored in copper pots for better health. The Charaka Samhita and the Sushruta Samhita codified this as medical practice spanning thousands of years. To this day, across villages in Rajasthan and Kerala, you will find copper water vessels in nearly every household. The tradition never stopped. Persian royalty carried copper containers on long desert journeys, relying on the metal to keep water fresh through extreme heat. In Greece, the physician Hippocrates prescribed copper-infused water for respiratory infections and digestive illness around 400 years before the Common Era. The Romans built their legendary aqueducts, using copper pipes to transport water across the empire. They understood that the material itself was part of the purification. Then there is the Baghdad Battery, discovered in 1936 near the ancient city of Ctesiphon in modern Iraq. It is a ceramic pot containing a copper tube and an iron rod sealed together with bitumen. When replicas were filled with citric acid, they produced a measurable voltage. Wilhelm Koenig proposed in 1940 that this artifact represented galvanic cell technology from the Parthian period in the 1st century of the Common Era, nearly 2,000 years before Alessandro Volta built his famous pile. In 1893, a Swiss botanist named Carl Wilhelm von Nageli gave this phenomenon its modern scientific name, the oligodynamic effect. It describes the toxic action of metal ions on living cells even at extremely low concentrations. Copper, silver, zinc. These metals kill microorganisms simply by being present in water. This was not a new discovery, it was a confirmation of what every major civilization had already figured out independently. Egyptians, Indians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Parthians, 5,000 years of proven water purification across every continent. Then, in less than a century, Western engineering forgot all of it. In 1984, an American engineer named Don Heskett was working in his laboratory and used a brass ballpoint pen to stir chemicals in a water sample. Brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. When he tested the water afterward, the chlorine was gone, completely removed. By accident, he had stumbled back onto physics that ancient civilizations relied on for millennia. Heskett spent the next 3 years refining the formulation. In 1987, he received a United States patent for what he called kinetic degradation fluxion. The technology uses granules of high-purity copper and zinc alloy. Water passes through the granules, and the galvanic reaction strips contaminants on contact. Testing confirmed removal of up to 99% of dissolved metals. The media also controlled bacteria, algae, fungi, and scale buildup without any chemical treatment whatsoever. Independent analysis showed that copper levels in the filtered water measured below 0.05 milligrams per liter. That is 20 times below the acceptable limit set by the Environmental Protection Agency. Zinc levels came in at 0.46 milligrams per liter, more than 10 times below the EPA safety threshold. The technology was certified by NSF International. It met both EPA and FDA safety requirements for drinking water. The raw materials cost a few dollars per pound. No electricity required, no replacement cartridges, no chemical additives. It is a passive galvanic cell that purifies water simply by existing. The physics was proven, the patents were filed, the safety data was clean. So what happened next should disturb you. In 1992, the EPA reviewed copper-zinc filtration and ruled that it qualifies as a mechanical device. It meant the filter imparts nothing harmful to the water. That ruling should have opened the floodgates for residential adoption across America. Contractors could have installed these systems in homes for a fraction of the cost of conventional water treatment. Then in 2007, the EPA reversed course. A notice published in the Federal Register on September 21st of that year reclassified ion-generating equipment as pesticides under the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act. The reasoning stated that any device releasing metal ions to prevent or destroy a pest must be registered as a pesticide prior to sale or distribution. Full pesticide. Registration costs hundreds of thousands of dollars in testing and legal fees, all for a $5 metal filter. The classification created an impossible barrier. Small manufacturers and independent builders cannot afford the regulatory gauntlet. The technology that ancient Egyptians used freely and that a man in a laboratory rediscovered with a ballpoint pen now requires the same federal approval process as industrial herbicides and chemical pesticides. Medical authorities like Stanford physician Paul Auerbach recommended against copper-zinc filtration as a sole means of water treatment. The American Water Works Association raised concerns about zinc discharge into streams. These are legitimate scientific cautions. Copper-zinc filtration does not remove protozoan cysts like Giardia or Cryptosporidium. It does not eliminate organic chemicals. No single technology does everything. But those real limitations were weaponized to dismiss the entire technology rather than position it as one layer in a multi-stage purification system. The nuance was erased. Follow the money and the picture sharpens. The global water treatment chemicals market generates tens of billions of dollars annually. Every galvanic filter installed is a chlorine dose that never gets sold, a replacement cartridge that never gets shipped, a service contract that never gets renewed. Executives in boardrooms and lobbyists in government hallways have every incentive to keep a $5 solution buried under pesticide classification paperwork. The codes are written against you. The classifications are designed to confuse, but the physics never changed. And in laboratories around the world, the evidence keeps piling up. At the University of North Carolina, researchers tested ionic copper and zinc as disinfectants for stored drinking water under controlled conditions. At a dose of just 0.2 milligrams per liter, the system achieved adequate disinfection of E. coli in 9 hours, MS2 bacteriophage in 10 hours, and Bacillus cereus spores in 24 hours. complete microbial control from a trace amount of 2 metals in water. In a separate study, scientists contaminated drinking water with 500 colony-forming units per milliliter of dangerous diarrheal bacteria, including Vibrio cholerae, Shigella flexneri, Salmonella typhi, and enterotoxigenic E. coli. They stored that contaminated water in copper vessels at room temperature for 16 hours. When they tested the water afterward, not a single bacterium could be recovered on the culture medium. Zero. Complete elimination. Safety analysis confirmed the copper content measured far below World Health Organization guidelines. The treated water posed no health risk. Comparative studies of the oligodynamic effect across multiple metals found that copper achieved approximately 70% depletion of microbial colonies within 24 to 60 hours of incubation. Copper outperformed every other metal tested. At the University of Southampton in England, researchers placed methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus on copper alloy surfaces. MRSA is one of the most dangerous antibiotic-resistant bacteria on Earth. At 20 degrees Celsius, the copper achieved more than 99.9% kill rate within 75 minutes. Not hours, not days, 75 minutes. NASA validated the principle for the most demanding environment imaginable. The space agency developed copper-silver purification systems to provide astronauts with safe drinking water on long-duration missions aboard the International Space Station. This innovation eliminated the need for chlorine in spacecraft water systems entirely. If the technology is reliable enough for orbit, it is reliable enough for a home on Earth. And in 2008, the EPA itself registered 274 different copper alloys as certified antimicrobial materials with recognized public health benefits. The same agency that classified copper-zinc filtration as a pesticide simultaneously certified copper as an antimicrobial surface. The government's own data contradicts its own regulatory framework. The science is settled, the history is unbroken, and the materials are sitting in every hardware store in America. So let us build it. The core principle is elegant. 2 dissimilar metals in physical contact immersed in water. The water itself acts as the electrolyte. No batteries, no wiring. Zinc sits at negative 0.76 volts on the electrochemical series. Copper sits at positive 0.34 volts. The potential difference creates a self-powered electrochemical cell the moment water touches both surfaces. Copper mesh, pipe fittings, and zinc strips are available at any hardware store. Commercial versions use brass granules with specific proportions of copper and zinc alloy. A simple version using copper wool and zinc mesh layered inside a PVC housing can be assembled for under $5 in materials. The geometry matters. You want maximum surface area contact between the copper and zinc. Interleaved mesh, twisted wire, or layered granules all work. Research indicates a ratio of 2:1 up to 4:1. Copper to zinc by surface area produces optimal results. More copper than zinc. Always. Flow rate is critical. The water must remain in contact with the bimetallic surface long enough for the redox reaction to complete. Slow, gravity-fed drip systems outperform pressurized flows. Multiple passes through the media improve effectiveness dramatically. Be clear about what this does and does not do. It removes chlorine, heavy metals, hydrogen sulfide, iron, and bacteria. It does not remove protozoan cysts or organic chemical contaminants on its own. Pair the galvanic media with activated carbon or a ceramic filter for comprehensive treatment. The combination actually extends the carbon filter lifespan and prevents bacterial growth inside the housing. The 2 technologies make each other stronger. Maintenance is minimal. The media can be backwashed and reused for over 6 years with proper care. The zinc slowly sacrifices itself through the same electrochemical principle that protects ship hulls and underground storage tanks from corrosion. Eventually, the zinc needs replacement, but eventually is measured in years, not months. A personal gravity-fed filter for non-municipal use occupies a gray area in American building code. This is not legal advice. It is an observation about what physics permits, regardless of what bureaucracy acknowledges. Zinc and copper have occupied their positions on the electrochemical series since before human civilization existed. The voltage between them is a property of the universe itself. It does not require approval. It does not expire. It does not answer to a regulatory framework. The use of copper for purifying water dates back to the 3rd millennium before the Common Era. Civilizations from Egyptian to Greek to Aztec utilized copper to fight bacterial contamination in their water supplies. The knowledge survived not because any government preserved it, but because physics does not care about marketing budgets or regulatory capture or industry lobbying. It simply works. 2 metals, water, physics, $5 and 5,000 years of proof. The river has been waiting. It has always been waiting. If this changed how you think about construction, please subscribe to Building Grounds with Greg, and please watch the next video appearing on your screen right now.